everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us for another edition of MyExpert Live Training Webinar. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you guys today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And I'm ready to have a good time today. We are talking about sublimating t-shirts, sweaters, and hats. So if you've been maybe you're on the fence about how to like maybe should I even get into sublimation, and so you want to kind of see how the process works first, or maybe you have your sublimation equipment and it's just sitting in a box because you're too afraid to open it. It happens, no worries. And maybe you just want a refresher, you're just hanging out. Honestly, I know a lot of us are still stuck at home. I have a Sawgrass SG400, which has been serving me very, very well. And then, HPN 16 by 20 Signature Series heat press. Actually, I'm going to show you guys what we're going to be using today. Today, we're going to be using, on the left, you'll see our HPN Signature Series Auto Open Cap Press. And you'll notice that it's off. I don't want to trip the circuit, so I'm just going to run one heat press at a time. But then over there on the right, you're going to see our HPN Craft Pro 15 by 15 inch heat press. And you say, what's that weird little pillow thing on there? Well, that's a pressing pillow. And then those are the prints we have today. Today, I'm really excited because I get to answer some questions that really bother people. All right, what happens if I use 100% cotton? Should I use 50-50, 65-35, 100% poly? I'm pressing all those. I have a stack of t-shirts here. So in the just so you know what you're getting yourself into, I have my 100% cotton tee. I have my 100% polyester tee, and then I have this one should be the 65, 50-50, and then I have 100% poly, but in blue, because we get a lot of questions about, well, what if I, have a colored garment? Can I use sublimation? Yes, you can, but you might need to modify your artwork for that. So here I have my HPN Craft Pro 15-inch by 15-inch heat press. I got a little pressing pillow on here. Now, right out of the gate, you might be wondering why I have this here. If you've sublimated or if you've worked with polyester t-shirts before, you'll know that polyester, and this is actually kind of warm, so I don't want it to get on my prints. You'll know that polyester t-shirts, and this is I didn't have my regular one, so this is Augusta Sportswear. It's a moisture wicking t-shirt, and it is 100% polyester. So here's what happens, and I'm kind of tempted to do it wrong, just so you could see what happens when I do it right. So you see you have the edge of the heat press right here, and then this heating element, it's a piece of metal, so that, there's corners on it. Now, polyester tends to singe and scorch at sublimation temperatures, especially if the shirt is not designed for sublimation. If it's not meant for heat pressing, you could be left when you press it with some very visible marks. That is where that's where the pressing pillow comes from. So this pillow, there's a piece of heat resistant foam inside. And then what happens is that these edges, you see how they kind of taper off? So you still might see a little scorching over your graphic, but you're not going to see a major press mark. Now, we say that these help minimize the appearance of press marks. Depending on the garment you're using, you may not 100% get rid of the press marks. And that's why I encourage you, maybe try different brands of t-shirts. You will get different results because not all manufacturers use the same quality of polyester. That's just kind of the nature of the beast, as I say. So the way you do it, you have to make sure that your pressing pillow is smaller than the actual size of your heat press. Really quick, we do have larger ones. This would not work because this pillow covers the entire surface, and so when this heating element comes down, actually I'll show you, it's still going to come off the edge. So now this edge is still making contact with the t-shirt. That's why this is no good. You could use this for other stuff, but we're just talking about t-shirts today. So when you're doing t-shirts, you want to minimize the appearance of press marks, get a pressing pillow, and make sure that it's smaller than the lower platen. This and the one I just showed you comes with two more, and what the heck, my inner salesman can't resist. There's a smaller one if you're pressing logos, and there's this one's for like sleeves. They all come in a pack. I forget the price, but honestly, it's 100% worth your dollar. So now I have my t-shirt. Gonna put it on, gonna center the t-shirt with the with the platen, and then I'm going to position it so the collar is just hanging off the edge of the pillow. Now, there's one thing that I'm not going to do because I want to see if it's going to work, is what you should do is get a piece of parchment paper. What you're going to want to do is get a piece of parchment paper and actually slip it inside the t-shirt. And you know what the heck? Let's do things the right way. Now, yes, this is going to add a little bit of time to your process, but that's why you're just gonna, I don't know, charge an extra 48 cents or whatever to compensate for your extra time in the process. I'm not sure what you guys are charging for your hourly and how that would equate to this extra, let's just say a minute. Let's overestimate and say it took me a whole minute to put that in there. So now I probably have to recenter my shirt. I'm gonna feel it, make sure that the parchment paper is fully covering this surface. Looks good, feels good. And I have my transfer right here. This is a really cool transfer. Can you see that? Very cool themed. It's very colorful. It's kind of bright in here. And then also, oh, one thing you do want to remember is that if you're new to sublimation, when you first print this out, it's going to look a little dull. So I'm going to hold up a printout after I press this. I'm going to hold up a printout, and yeah, and we'll see. Now this pillow is, ooh, you know what? This is one thing I didn't consider. This pillow is just a hair too small for my transfer. That is interesting in that case. I did not anticipate this. We need to make an 8.5 by 11 size pillow. So here's what I'm going to do. This is not the right thing to do. But anyway, so real quick, the pillow has to be smaller than the plate, and your image has to be smaller than the pillow. Otherwise, this part that's rolling off the edge here, it's not going to get good pressure. So I did not measure the size of my pillow when I started this. So here's what I'm going to do. Super ghetto, but it is what it is. So maybe one of the other ones we'll press and see how it goes. There we go. That fits a little bit better. Okay, so you're going to get your print. You're going to lay it ink side down on the garment. Next thing you're going to do, you're going to get another piece of paper, parchment paper, and you're going to put it over your t-shirt. This is essential. And by the way, you're going to go through a lot of parchment paper in sublimation. Just a heads up on that. Here's one thing you are going to have to figure out. I have my heat press set to 375 at 60 seconds. You want to be within about 375 to 400. You're going to be going for about 45 to 60 seconds. The higher the temperature, the lower the time. But since I'm lower on temperature, I'm a little higher on time. So I'm going to put this in. I've already adjusted my pressure, and I'll talk about that. So you see, it didn't take a lot of effort to close that. One thing that's important to remember with the pressing pillows is that you don't want to squish them. You should, and then even, sublimation garments in general, you don't need a ton of pressure to sublimate. You can sublimate really well with just, a very light to medium light pressure, just enough to force the gas inside the t-shirt. Because again, sublimation, it turns into a gas dye. I'm not looking at questions right now. I'm going to get to questions as soon as we pull this t-shirt out. I'm going to pause for questions. I can see them kind of racking up from here on my end, and we're just going to get these done. We got 17 seconds left on the clock. 15. Oh, the impatience. And once again, I'm at 375 degrees Fahrenheit, and for time, I went for 60 seconds. Again, 375 to 400 is a good time. If you have a really sensitive garment, maybe you could drop your temperature to about 365. Oh, there we go. It's already opening for me. Here's one thing you want to be careful with when you're sublimating. The transfer still has some ink on it, and it's still hot. Because in sublimation, the ink turns into a gas dye. If I were to shift this at all, it would make a new imprint in the new position, and it would have a blurry look. So you just want to be careful when you remove the parchment paper that you don't shift the garment, all right? Move that over here, and I'm just gonna Band-Aid it up, and darn, That's a pretty good looking image. Now, one more thing, you might not be able to see it. There is a faint imprint of the paper that was left on here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna re-hit it with the parchment paper just to kind of iron that out. And we'll see if that works. It should. And I'm only gonna hit it again for about, let's see, we'll say 15 seconds. So I got 10, I got 5 more. Now, this is something that I do that even though you can't see it on camera, you might run into the same issue. And it helped a little bit. One thing that some people do is they'll just like tear the edges gently of the parchment papers, of the transfer. So look, so this is the one that I just pressed. Oh, no. So you can see there's still a little ink here, but that's a good press. Now check this out. Actually, let's pull out the parchment paper. You probably can't see it on camera. It's very faint. There was a very, very faint bleed through. So on this particular t-shirt, it probably would not have gone through to the back. Now, if you could see through it, it's not because there's any ink on the back. It's just because it's a thin shirt. So it's a little see-through. But check this out. So this is before. So, you know, the colors, when you print it out, it's not that great. Don't worry, because when you sublimate it, that's when you get these really cool, bold, and vibrant colors. And that's the beauty of sublimation. Now, I know I took a little extra time because I was walking you through the process. Oh, man, how can I? There we go. There we go. That's pretty cool, huh? And if you notice, there's no hard, there's no imprint of the heat press because our pressing pillow saved the day. Let's go back to the heat press, and I have 2 t-shirts that we're gonna test today. I'm gonna go for the 65, actually. I'm gonna skip the 50-50 right here that I'm gonna press, and for the sake of time, I'm gonna kind of speed through these. You'll notice I'm not gonna put any parchment paper in. I'm just gonna kind of hit it and quit it right here. So here I have my print. Also, I'm not really gonna trim this, forgive me. There's a little bit of the print hanging over the edge. And well, it's just gonna have to work, right? One thing I will do is, oh, see, it left an imprint on this sheet, and I don't know which side the ink is on. And since I don't want any ink on my heating element, I'm just gonna cut a new piece. And you know what's cool? My sister-in-law is a baker, and she buys these packs of parchment paper that are already cut up into pretty good sized sheets. And I've been meaning to get those, but then it's expensive. We sell this parchment paper by the roll. This roll, dude, I've been using it without exaggeration for months. This roll was a lot bigger when I got it, and it still has a ton to go. So just buy the jumbo roll of parchment paper, heatpressnation.com. All right, 375 for 60 seconds on the clock. Let's hit it. All right, we got 7 seconds left on the clock. I'm getting ready to pop this bad boy open. And you can see how a sublimation transfer looks side by side with, there we go. See, not a lot of pressure at all. I'm gonna carefully remove this. So again, I don't want to shift my transfer, right? And this is trash. That parchment paper is trash. And then I like to say band-aid it because you're just gonna rip that off right there, like boom. There we go. Hey, you know what? The edges, they came out a little blurred. Not too bad at all. And you know what? For 65% polyester, that looks pretty darn good. All right. The more polyester you have in your garment, the better. This is a 65% polyester t-shirt from Toltex. It's pre-shrunk. Man, you probably won't know the difference, but it does look a little bit better on the 100% poly. The difference is minimal, but one thing we're not seeing is how's it gonna wash? The one on bottom, this is 100% poly. This is, actually, I'm just gonna hold it up for you. The difference is minimal just off the top, but here's the thing. It's 65% polyester, so that's actually a really great percentage. And then it's not gonna be as heavy. It's not gonna be, I'm sorry, as thin. It's gonna be a little bit thicker. It's gonna, of course, the cotton definitely helps with the comfort. And now here's the thing, when it washes, it is gonna wash out a little bit. And that's one thing, when you wash the polyester, it's gonna look like this after a ton of washes. This one, not so much, because remember, the cotton is not hanging on to anything. The sublimation is not holding on to the 35% cotton. So, we kind of estimate like, you'll lose about 35% of your transfer. For the sake of time, I'm gonna skip the 50-50 transfer today. And we're just gonna show you guys what happens when you heat press, when you sublimate onto a 100% cotton. This is a Gildan soft style, which I love, by the way, the 64,000. If you guys want to know what I'm using for all my customers and my side projects, I'm using the 64,000. Now, because this is cotton, I am going to pre-press it a little bit, just going to get a little flat working area. I don't want to sublimate any wrinkles onto my garment. I will press that 50-50 for my wash test, but not on camera. You guys get the idea with the 65. Okay, center this here. Okay, oh, and then apologies to your eardrums. I know the mic picks up everything in here, so there we go. Check that out. We're gonna do this. Gonna put this in 375 seconds. And again, this is 100% cotton. So if you guys want to know why we don't sublimate onto cotton, you're about to find out. Now, here's one thing: do not be deceived. All right, guys. When I pull this out, you are gonna see a decent hit. All right, or not decent. It's workable, right? The problem is when you wash it. When you wash these 100%, like anything with cotton, it's gonna wash the heck out. And so make sure you're following us on Instagram. I am gonna be posting the results of the wash test next week when I eventually do my laundry. And yeah, I moved into an apartment with no laundry there. So I'm driving to my parents' house like every weekend or every 2 weeks, or I'm driving to Walmart to buy a new pack of underwear. See, the good thing is I have a billion t-shirts thanks to working at Heat Press Nation. So I'm good on clothes. I just, anyways, I don't know why I'm sharing that. I just trying to kill time here, guys. Sorry. Sue me for having a little fun with you all. All right. That's 60 seconds there. We're going to gently open this. Now, again, slide it out. Treat it with the same care. Going to carefully remove this. This is done. We're done with this. And let's do it. Boop. Now you might be thinking, hey, that's not so bad. And the truth is it's not so bad. I can clearly see that this transfer, even here, so of course on the edges, I knew there was gonna be a little bit of blurring because the pillow's not big enough. Even right here, I'm not seeing that definition that I want. This is not nearly as clear as the other, what am I trying to say? As the polyester. Not nearly as clear, as defined. Okay, the polyester, sure, I would without hesitation say it is a high resolution transfer. It looks really good. And I know due to the lighting, it's hard to pick up on camera, right? But I really wish you guys were here. So I'm gonna hold up and you just kind of just keep this in your imaginations here. This is the 100% polyester tee with great definition. Looks really clear. And I really wish you guys could be here in person so you could see the difference a little better. This is 100% cotton. And it's a little more faint, definitely more faded, just right off the bat. Like haven't washed it, haven't anything, and it's already like just really light, faint, and faded, and the definition is just not there. It's just really not there. Now, here's what's gonna happen. When I wash this whole print is gonna look like poop. It's gonna suck. And yeah, and that's not what you want to be giving your customers, unless like okay, and I've had this happen. Someone tells me, dude, because I'm friends with a bunch of musicians, dude, I need a t-shirt just for one show. I just need and I'm like, yeah, sure. If you really are okay with wearing it one time, knock yourself out. So here I have my blue t-shirt, right? And so the last question they asked, is the color of the shirt going to influence the color of the garment? Yes. Here's why. This is my printout, okay? Sublimation printers do not have any white ink. It's all going to be CMYK, which is cyan, magenta, yellow, black. So this white of the astronaut that you're seeing is just blank space. It's just a blank space. And in fact, the t-shirts that we just made, the white of the astronaut here, that's just the t-shirt showing. The printer did not print any white ink. And when I sublimated, there was no white ink that got on there. It's just the t-shirt color coming through. So all of your sublimation prints, if you see any white on there, it's not that the printer printed white, it's the printer left that area blank and the white of the t-shirt is coming through. So what happens when you have a colored t-shirt? In this case, we have a blue t-shirt. Well, let's find out. Now remember, all the white parts of my graphic are blank. So instantly those are going to be filled with blue. But there's something interesting that happens, all right? It's not just the white parts, like in this case, our astronaut suit. It's not just those parts that are gonna be turning blue. It actually influences the rest of the entire print. So for example, we have our print here. So you see how this was coming out. Actually, I'll hold up a t-shirt. It's probably better to explain with a t-shirt. So you see how on our t-shirt, we have like the tops, how it's like, we got some neon greens and purples and it's looking really cool. And in the astronaut's helmet, we have that beautiful red planet and like all that stuff, like all these colors, they look this way. This is actually how it looked from the original image that I sent to print. Now, what's gonna happen, not only is the white of this astronaut gonna change to blue, but the blue is gonna influence every other color on our garment. And we're gonna see that in about 15 seconds. This is also why we don't sublimate onto black, because you'll see how the blue influences everything, while the black, it just hides everything. You literally cannot see anything when you sublimate directly onto black as we're doing today. Giving it the same care and treatment, we're going, care and treatment, not the Karen. Love the Karens out there, but you know what's funny? I've only ever met all the Karens I've known, they've all been really sweet. So I'm not sure how that nickname got to be used pejoratively, but anyways, okay, so this t-shirt right here, we're going to, like we say, band-aid it. Oh, surprised, huh? I surprised you guys. And you can already see that this looks kind of dumb. All right. Holding it up, like in the top corner, you can still see a little bit of that like neon yellow, but the rest of the colors really got lost. And so you can see here that this is not the same as this. This is cool. This is beautiful. It's vibrant. This is like, all right, cool. So now you know what? Some people might be into this. That's a whole other thing. Like this could be very cool in some circle. Like, you know, maybe you're going for this cool blue look, but if you're not, well, so that's why we recommend, you'll never hear me say you can't sublimate onto colors. But that is why I recommend going with white garments. That's just white garments. That's just how you get the look. I'm bringing it back. See this? So like the on the top, I think you're probably seeing it on your top right. There's like some yellow going on. That's actually supposed to be like a neon, right? And then like the purples that's right behind the top of the astronaut's head, like I don't even know where that went. It's just gone. It just looks blue. And then the red planet, like what color is that? Is that like a brown planet now? You know, it's just not ideal. It's just not ideal. It can be done. No one's gonna stop you. It's just not ideal. Basically, to do a sweater, it's gonna be exactly the same as doing a t-shirt. I mean, that's the honest truth. You might need to loosen your pressure a little bit, but that's about it. So here's what we're gonna do. Probably should have turned the press off first. My bad. So really quick, we're going to go again to 3. Now we're going to do foam trucker caps. So we're actually going to 360, and I'm only going to go for 36 seconds. This is the golden goose right here. This is a foam trucker cap. Here's the thing about foam trucker caps. I hate them because they're so doggone finicky. Pulling this out. Foam trucker caps are cool because people dig them for some reason. Oh, and here's perfect. I don't know if you guys can see this. Like there's, okay, you see that lip? It's because the string was left right here. So the foam itself is actually very sensitive to anything really. So you want to try a couple. This is a, oh, it doesn't have the brand name. This is a PO54266 style 51345. It doesn't even have the name. I'm not even sure what kind these are. They might be RA, OURAY. I'm not certain actually. I have some Yupong foam truckers that are a little bit more flat. These are, but it's basically the same process. Anyways, these are tough. All right, but that's why I'm showing you guys so you guys can get a head start on foam trucker caps. So if you decide to try them and you like them, that way you can do them for yourself. And then once you get into them, the cool thing about foam trucker caps is, you know, you have the blank slate right here. You can put whatever you want. Very, very cool that you can put whatever you want, any full color graphic. I have mine printed here. I think I'm going to go for the alien one. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And I have it cut out over there already. Before we get started, and while I kill just a couple moments of time waiting for that heat press to get to temperature, a few things I do want to say is that the foam trucker cap, you might have to try a couple different ones. I prefer, and you know what, let me just get the exact, that's the Yupong 6005 FW, shut up, foam white front panel trucker. It's 60% cotton, 40% polyester, but I'm pretty sure the foam itself, I'm not sure what part is cotton. I think the brim of the cap is the cotton part. But this little patch right here, that's polyester, baby. That's some polyester foam right there. Great for sublimation, and they have different colors. If you're into that sort of thing, I used to have a bunch of these here, no idea where they went, so I had to order some other ones. So the cap I'm using today is actually not my preferred cap, but we're still gonna have a good time. So one thing, okay, so I'm not trying to scare you guys off from using foam trucker caps. I think this is a really, really great thing for you guys to be making. And we're actually gonna go prep our heat press now while we wait for it to finish heating up. Again, that's the good thing about heat presses is that they don't take forever to get to temperature. So I'm already kind of close. I'm at 230, okay, cool. All right, so first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna flip out the inside, you know, little sweat holder, whatever you call that, sweatband. You're gonna get that, you're gonna flip it out. And this is how I'm doing it on my heat press. Now my heat press has a little latch that I think you can see it. Yeah, you can see that. It holds the cap in place. What you don't want to do is stretch the cap too much. This is, again, this is very sensitive. So what I do on my foam truckers is I'll open them up to like 2 tabs. So you flip this out, and then you just kind of work it onto your lower platen, position it. The edge of the lower platen should come up to about right, you know, where the edge meets. You want to center it, and you're going to want to close the latch. Now, don't snap it all the way if you don't have to. You don't want it, again, you don't want it to be stretching the cap out. You just kind of want it to be holding it in place. One thing I am going to get really quick is some tape. No, I'm not going to get tape. You're going to see what happens when I don't get tape. Any lint that's on the surface of your foam, or pretty much anything, you always want to have a lint roller handy. Any lint that gets caught in there, sometimes what happens is the gas, again, the gas dye from the transfer, it seeps out and it actually gets onto the thing. And so the lint picks up the ink, and now you have little permanent imprints of lint all over your transfer. So now that it's on there, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to test my pressure. You want to make sure that the bill is not going to hit the heating element. So I'm going to lower it. And that's actually a little too firm. So what I'm going to do is the adjustment on this one, yours might vary. The adjustment on this one is the little knob that you can use to lower it. I just want this press to barely kiss my hat. For foam trucker hats, we found after much testing, there we go. That should be good. All right. After a lot of testing, we found that the best thing to do for these hats is to just barely kiss it. Just barely kiss it with pressure. In fact, there's so little pressure that if I hit the release button, it's not even gonna pop open. I still have to help it open. Of course, if you're doing vinyl, you want to use much more pressure, but we've done a lot of experiments on these foam chucker caps, and that is really what worked. I got 360 seconds. We're working up to that. And actually, instead of, I know I put 36 seconds on there. I'm really just gonna go for 30. I have a couple hats. We'll see how this goes. One thing I did forget, and I apologize for forgetting it, I don't know what happened to my heat tape. What you want to do is you want to get your transfer. I'm going to use this one. Pretty cool, right? Out of this world. What you want to do is you want to position your transfer, and then you want to heat tape it in place. Now me, I don't have any, I have no clue what happened to my heat tape. So what I'm going to do is now parchment paper on the cap press. It's kind of hard to position it. I don't always use it, even though I know I should. It's like an accident waiting to happen. I'm just totally tempting fate here. But I kind of just like, so what I'll do is I'll just kind of just do it like that. Hold the parchment paper in place, kind of from the back, right? And just hold it there while it presses. And just pray that I got it right. Now, if I had some heat tape, I would just use a tiny little bit of heat tape on either side, center my graphic, heat tape it in place, bada bing, bada boom. It would be looking good. But I forgot my heat tape, so I apologize. All right, so I'm gonna position this here. Then I'm gonna get my parchment paper, hold it down there, make sure my, and the transfer shouldn't really move unless you make it move. All right, now I'm gonna close this with very gentle pressure. I'm trying to like not burn my fingers here. So you know what, is that gonna, no, okay. So really quick, so one thing I'm noticing is that the heat press is coming down right about there. So my transfer, I'm gonna put a little higher. And you know what? Let's just pretend I did everything right. I'm just gonna, there we go. And I missed the bottom of the transfer, I think, but we're just gonna see how it looks. Now I'm at 360 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 seconds, which is a very minimal press. There's a chance it's not gonna be as bold and vibrant as it should be, but we're about to find out. It might be in the level of acceptable to where I don't want to burn this cap. This cap again is very sensitive to heat. So maybe the trade-off here is that it doesn't look as perfect as it should, but oh, see, and so that moved. Doggone, that does look pretty cool. You know what I did? I just printed my transfer too darn big. Now here's another important thing. If the paper left any imprint on there, all you're gonna do is just get your paper. Maybe you can even just hold it right here so I don't burn my fingers. Oh no, I don't want to do that. Just gonna hold that here. I'm just gonna press it again really quick. Just give it a quick hit. Hopefully that'll iron it out. Another thing that I do sometimes is I'll get the press, the hat, and I'll literally hold it up and rub it up there to kind of eliminate some of the paper marks. I think that did pretty okay. Now check this out. This is what's surprising, is this hat actually looks pretty darn good. If I would have sized the graphic properly, which was my error, I made that way too big. It would look great. Now here's the thing. You want to leave the cap to cool on the cap press for a second. Now after you press a bunch of these, the lower platen's gonna get warm, and you know, you might have to let it chill out for a second, maybe cool out, put the lower platen in front of a fan, bring a fan in, I don't know. But what I've noticed is these are very pliable when they're very hot still. So if you take it off, it'll shrink, it'll like warp, and then it'll cool in that position, and then this looks like very, very wrinkly and dumb. So yeah. So you guys can see, I think it's okay. You don't need it to get totally cold, but you do want to let it chill out on the upper platen. Now again, this is my error here. Today, I don't know what's wrong with me, man. I'm a pro and I'm still screwing up. I sized my graphic a little too big. It just didn't fit on there. But okay, but look at the quality of this transfer, huh? Not bad at all. I'm looking at it up close. I think I could have gotten just and I'm not even exaggerating, maybe 2 to 5% more color out of it. But I guarantee you, your customers are not going to notice a 2 to 5% loss in color because you only sublimated it for 30 seconds. 360 degrees, 30 seconds. Texprint XPHR paper, Sawgrass SG500 with Sublimate UHD inks. This hat looks pretty darn good. One reason why I love these hats is because they're cool, they're comfy. I have a really big head, so this is actually not gonna fit me. It's on the second tab. Look at this. 2 tabs, and it doesn't fit. It's just like, I have to wear it like SpongeBob, how he lets his hat sit like just on the very tippy top of his head. All right. Oh, which is also why I like the other ones. They're just a little bit bigger. But check this out, dude, that looks dope. All right. So maybe you're printing merch for a band and they have a full color graphic that like, hey, you can't put it on the t-shirt with vinyl. This is a 2-color graphic, right? Don't steal this, is mine. But you have, or a company or whatever, and they want full color. Sublimation on these foam truckers is the way to go. Okay, now one thing you might be seeing here on the top here, the little shadow of the heat press. It's very like, I don't know if you guys are seeing that like shadow on the top. Like I said, these are very sensitive. So what you could do is the top, and actually let me just show you what I do sometimes. If I have a mark or something that I need to get rid of on there, what I'll do is I'll just go up, darn it. What I'll do is I'll just go up and I'll just literally put my hand under the part where there's like a thing, and I'll just kind of rub it in there a little bit, kind of iron it out, just kind of smooth it out. It gets really hot, so if you need to put like a glove on or something like that, like a barbecue glove, knock yourself out. And that actually did help a little. So, and this is if you mess up. What I should have done, I might have let it cool too long because it cooled on the form of this. So maybe I waited a little too long. Again, hone in your process, but you don't have to lose the hat. Like I ruined this hat because I didn't size it right. But let's say I let it cool too long on there, or I had some marks on there. You can smooth them out like that, so that way you don't have to waste product. So make sure you stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram. That's where I'm going to be posting the wash test. And yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'm actually 18 minutes over time, so I apologize, but I thank you for joining us. You can replay it. The replay is going to be available at heat.press/webinar replay. And I hope you guys all have a great day. That's going to do it for me from Heat Press Station. Again, my name is Jared. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope you guys have a great and fantastic weekend. All right, guys, I'll see you around.